We killing each other. We don't need the KKK anymore because KKK ain't got to be on speed dial no more because we're doing it ourselves. Because myself being a black woman, I pay attention to the reputation of our community. It's a mess. We don't have a community, to say the least. We don't have a community. Our reputation is shot because if you think back to the Willie Lynch letter, I don't know if it's real or not. Some people said it is, some people say it's not, but I'm just going to say whatever is in it is truthful. I've talked about it on a previous episode and I'm bringing it back up now. Willie Lynch was talking about the fact that, hey, you're going to have the mothers raising up sons who are going to be weak. Okay, they're going to be physically strong, but mentally weak. The women are going to be raising up women who are mentally strong, but physically weak. The backwards, right? The backwards logic there. Then you're going to have light-skinned slaves going to be separated from the dark-skinned slaves. You're going to have this colorism that we see out here. You see all this beef with women and men today. There's so much going on. That's why I don't focus just on relationships anymore with these topics that I pick, all because relationships is one thing, but if you don't have your mindset right, if you don't have your mindset, then you're not going to be able to get anything else right in life. You got to focus on you first, no matter what you're in. Even if you're in a relationship, you got to know who you are. You got to know what your reputation is by yourself as an individual person, because you came into the world by yourself and you're going to leave this world by yourself. Okay? So when it comes to the community, we have work to do. Holistically, people from the outside are looking at us like, what's going on? We got rappers talking smack about women. We got women rappers talking smack about men. This media is the most effective devil in America. I've said it before, and I had to say it again. It's straight facts right there. They're ruining our communities. We need to figure out what we can do to be able to put the pieces of the puzzle back together, because nobody's trying to focus on that. We're focusing on what's wrong with the other gender, why we can't get along. We got to figure out, instead of coming up with all these stipulations, figure out what the source of the problem is. We got the biggest buying power, but we don't know how to maintain a basic budget. There's so many problems that we have that we need to be opening up a book instead of worrying about scrolling on Facebook. The issues that we have, no other communities are facing it to this extreme. And we are so focused on the outside appearance of everybody. I can't help you unless you look like this. I can't talk to you, communicate with you unless you look like that. I can't talk to you unless you got this much money in your hands and you got this certain automobile, or, all this stuff like this. All the superficial things that are ruining our community. We killing each other. We don't need the KKK anymore because KKK ain't got to be on speed dial no more because we're doing it ourselves. Gangs, and if you on this side of this city, then you don't have to worry about messing with the side over here, west side versus east side. We're doing further division than KKK had to do for us. This is the problem I have in our community. This is why people are looking at us like we ain't got to do nothing. We don't have to do nothing. The devil is working hard, and that's it. And we are our biggest. It's us versus us. It's us versus us. That's why our reputation is shot. But what I'm trying to do instead, I can focus on the black community, I can focus on the Christian community, but we got to focus on the individual aspect. We got to focus on ourselves, because if our individual reputation isn't right, then nothing else is going to work. Think about the fact that one of us can be able to change the perspective, the stereotypes that others have about us. For example, when I used to be a co-op student back in high school, and there are stereotypes against black women, thinking we're angry, thinking we're this, thinking we're that. But I try to negate some of those stereotypes by being professional, showing up on my job on time, being nice to everyone. And I actually negated that stereotype to the point where people were trying to meet my mom, like, who is your mother? Because we're pretty much surprised to see you as a black young lady acting like this. I learned early on that I'm trying to be the outsider. I'm not trying to fit in with this because it's not working for me. I learned that professionalism is everything. I'm going to be the one needle in the haystack pretty much, because I want to stand out to show y'all that the whole community is not like this. Just like we have the angry black woman stereotype, I'm letting you know I'm not going to fit into those norms that you try to fit me in this box, but I don't belong in it. And that's what we should be thinking about. Okay, all the stereotypes that are part of our community, what are we doing to negate those on a daily basis? Be nice to somebody no matter what. Just certain things we need to do. We need to really work on, to say the least. It's a lot of stuff we need to do. And see, another thing is that our community, we have the Nick Cannons, right? We have the Diddy's. Diddy know what Diddy is. Diddy needs to go ahead and just say it to the world. But Diddy has another baby on the way. I think it's his seventh child. See, this is what we're doing. This is another thing the black community is doing. We're raising children up without their fathers. They're being Quaker oats out here, sowing their royal oats. Okay? No, this is a mess. They're sowing their royal oats out here, and they really don't have the time to be in these children's lives. Like I heard recently that Mariah Carey said Nick Cannon don't even be in his children's life like that because, for one, he don't have time with all these kids. I don't know what the number is now, but I think it's 11. 11th baby. And see, Diddy just had this child, and he had it with this woman. I don't even know if he was in a relationship with the woman because the woman just committed adultery. She was married, having this baby for Diddy. And you're ruining our communities. We have tremendous buying power, but on no land, we don't talk about nothing about ownership. Shout out to Oprah, though, because Oprah Winfrey Network, literally, she owns, okay? So shout out to her because that's an example. She's talking about ownership. Tyler Perry talking about ownership as well, even though I don't really like a lot of the stuff he got going on in his videos, to say the least, all this stuff that's being promoted in his series right now. So that's a totally different story, but shout out to them for ownership. We own no land, no companies, no industries. We're just employees. We're just slaves making good money. Look at the NBA, for example. The National Basketball Association, NBA. They are pretty much just slaves with a high paycheck because they have to move according to the organization's standards. They can't do what they want to do. They can't kneel without it being a problem or anything like that. They can't do certain things because they are under regulations of an owner. They are slaves to that particular owner, whoever owns the NBA. Same thing with the NFL and all these different organizations. They may be making these big bucks, but it's because of the sponsorship that they have from these companies, right? We don't own nothing. We buy liabilities instead of assets. It's a total flip mindset. All you got to do is open up a book. I got a whole bookshelf over here of books that I'll be reading because books are knowledge. Books are knowledge. Knowledge is power. But it's about not just having the knowledge, but what are you going to do? What are the action steps you're going to take to fulfill the needs in your life? Because we can talk about it all day. Talk is cheap. Talk is free over here. But at the same time, what are we doing to get on it? Because having that employee mindset only gets us so far, right? Like the cap is right here. What are we going to do to get above that? What are we going to do? They're going to rather gossip, drink, drug when they get together, rather build. Yes, right? Build. Oh, that's a foreign term. Ain't nobody got time for that. And shout out to Dre from Harrison Family Values. He was just talking about Pastor Jamal Bryant yesterday. So check that video out if you haven't already. But he says, in the land we do own, pastors are trying to grow the cannabis on. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. Talk about it. Crickets, straight up crickets, because that's what they're trying to do with it. And shout out to Terrell. I haven't seen you in a while, but thank you so much for being here, sir. I appreciate that. Hit that like button if y'all haven't so far, but we got a lot of work to do in the community. Forget the relationships because we don't have a sense of community. Everybody's hating on each other. I could see a black woman at the mall, at the gym, at a store, and she won't speak. I'll be ready to speak and everything. She'll walk past me like I was her enemy, like I stole her man from her or something. And I don't like that, how women are always, or have the tendency to always be on edge. Can I just say hi for the sake of saying hi? I'm not your competition, even though you may think I am. I'm so tired of us trying to compete against each other. I can see a black man at the store, the gym, the mall, and he'll speak to me, how you doing, right? Within a heartbeat. But it's the women that can't get along with each other. And I'm saying we got so much knowledge that we could be able to put together, but we worried about building on top of each other instead of building that foundation at the bottom so that we can build from there. But we're too busy trying to knock each other's blocks off. That's why we can't even get a steady foundation, because we can't build our community on sand. We cannot build our community on sand. We got to build it on that strong foundation, but ain't nobody trying to start it up because everybody want to be the CEO, CFO, CTO, CIO. Some of y'all need to go because y'all need to sit down and just let somebody else take over for a minute. Everybody can have a position in life, but everybody can't be the CEO at this moment. We got to start from somewhere. We need some janitors. We need some assistants. But everybody want to be at the top leading it, and y'all don't know how to lead. That's the problem. Submit to one another for a second. Okay? And shout out to Christina saying, I smile and say hi, and they look at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, y'all not going to play with me today because I have the tendency to nod, and I can't even get a nod back, a hello, or this or that. And y'all want to be disrespectful for what? What did I do to y'all? We're not the adversaries here. Okay? Seriously, take a couple seats. Take several seats at that. Too many chiefs and not enough people executing. Too many chiefs and not enough people executing. Hustler and Muscular, shout out to you. He said, I've had more men say hi to me as I'm walking down the street than I have actual women. Facts. The reputation is ruined. It's because we focus so much on relationships. Can we focus on something else, like building our children up? Proverbs 22:6. Can we focus on like training up a child in the way they should go? So when they grow old, they will not depart. Because our children are ruined too. Children are throwing it back, twerking, doing all these dances on TikTok. I can't keep up. Like Mona had to get me hip the other day about these different dances going on because I'm like, what's this stuff? I don't keep up with it. And I feel like I'm just out of the loop. But I don't want to be in certain loops because they're really messing our kids up. And that's why I'm just thankful for the parents out there that are really investing in their kids. Shout out to Mona. She's putting her kids in STEM programs early on to make sure they have some foundation, some education. Because that's one thing they cannot take from us is our education. Okay? That's one thing they cannot take from us. So shout out to the parents that's actually providing for their children. Shout out to the parents that are actually doing the necessary steps to make sure their child will not be like them. They're working on creating that legacy, because we could talk about what we used to do, what we missed out on in our childhoods, but it's about sowing the seed to help our children be able to fill those gaps or what we did get the opportunity to be blessed with. Right? Let's say I didn't have an IRA when I was a kid. So let me make sure my child has an IRA. Let me make sure that I'm giving them money for chores, but that money's going into an IRA so they can have some money, individual retirement account later on in life, so they can sit back. Let me make sure they have a insurance policy early on in life so they don't have to worry about situations happening to them and not having a way to provide for their family because we got to figure out GoFundMes and whatnot. There are so many things we got to realign our mindset on so we can be a community together, helping each other out. What happened to the Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma? We don't have that anymore because the dollar gets circulated in about 6 hours and then it's gone from our communities, where other communities take days to circulate a dollar. But our community, though, 6 hours. 6 hours before it leaves the community. That's what I'm saying. We don't have enough support to be able to do what we need to do in life. That's all I have to say. But whew, I see y'all in these comments. Yes, y'all. Thank y'all for being here so far. What I'm going to do next is talk about really like how to ruin your reputation, because that's what we did in the Black community. The single motherhood and all this stuff. We've ruined our community. We've sissified our sons, single mothers raising some of these men to be little boys, little girls, play sets and all. We sissifying them. And I want to talk about how to ruin your reputation with God, because we are doing that. Not just in the world, we ruin our reputation from the outside perspective, but we're ruining it with God as well. And I'm going to talk to you how to ruin it, because this is what you don't want to do, but this is what we are doing. Okay.